This is the Nuclear Option Podcast with Chris and Aziza Butler, the podcast for those who dare to believe in the power of the nuclear family.
In a time when it's harder than ever to raise a family, we want to encourage you to be proud of your family. Invest in your family because our families are the most promising solutions for the problems in our world. Greetings. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Nuclear Option Podcast.
Welcome indeed.
So good to have you guys
Happy
here.
day.
Yay. Happy day to you, my love.
Yes, indeed.
How are you feeling? Last time you were kind of sleepy. You don't look sleepy now, so this is great.
I do feel sleepy.
You don't look sleepy, though.
That's good.
But you had a great weekend, didn't you?
I had some kind of a weekend filled with great stories.
Yay. We should talk about it. We'll talk about it today.
We will.
Okay, we'll fill you guys in later. We are sleepy. That is the truth. We are both a little sleepy.
I've been sleepy since Monday. It is Wednesday while we're recording, and I'm not as sleepy as I was on Monday.
See? But you feel like good feelings in your heart and soul, don't you?
I do feel great feelings in my heart and in my soul.
Yay. Okay, we'll tell you guys why, but not now. Let's not.
Jesus is alive.
Exactly. Hallelujah. Amen. Say good amen. Okay, so the way we do it,
How
guys,
are you feeling?
Oh, you're so sweet, my love. I'm not nearly as sleepy as I was on Sunday night and Monday morning, but I feel really excited and invigorated.
I don't think you can say I'm not sleepy, but I feel excited.
Okay, I'm just sure somewhere in there. Yes, I can say
you can say anything you want. You can.
I feel pretty good. I'm so glad to be
I
here.
can't
I'm so
shoot,
glad to be your
but I'm
wife.
slow.
You're a great man. Just say. Okay, let's jump into it. All right, you guys. We're sorry for all this back and forthness.
We are not sorry.
It's true, we're not. We're having a good time. So hope you guys are too.
And we think we're kind of amazing. Not sorry.
I concur. All right, let's jump into it. So what we have here on the Nuclear Option Podcast, we talk about the politics of family, then the practice of family, and then we give you guys a little bit of a promise of the family. So let's start with politics. Love, what do you have for us today?
So we have this clip of our very own president of the Chicago Teachers Union. We're in Chicago, if you didn't know. So we have Stacey Davis Gates, and she's sitting for an interview, and the interviewer is really trying to nail her down on how the union spends their money, which is, unions get involved in politics. He's trying to say that they're too involved in politics, I think. But her reaction, her response to the question, I feel like she ends it in like a very strange way. So we're just going to let y'all listen to this for yourselves, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
You say you're not a political organization. Now, granted, they're conservative groups that have put this out, but I mean, there was one study that showed 80% of your spending is on political activity. You're a political party.
Our activity in this union is to secure contracts that provide smaller classes all across the city with limits for the first time ever. Our political activity is to ensure that black students have a success plan in order to undo the harm of years of marginal educational opportunities. Our political activity is to make sure that our lowest wage workers, black women who live on the south and west sides of Chicago, have a wage in which they can pay their rent, they can go to the grocery store, and that they can maintain a standard of living. Our political work is to ensure that women have the ability to sustain life without a husband.
So she's doing what I think is like good messaging work, because she's like, we're not a political quote unquote organization. We're out there, we're getting class sizes down, and we're fighting for
living
wages and this kind of thing. But then she makes a pivot to and we're fighting to make sure that our teachers can sustain a life and not have a husband. And I'm like, that's an interesting turn to take on that question.
That
Like,
escalated quickly.
like, why is it so important to you that people don't have a husband? Like, is one thing to be like, we want to support wages so that like a single woman, can not like, be desolate, which I'm totally down with that. Uh, but she sounds like excited. Like the goal is to keep the woman single, and like we need to get rid of this husband business. So I don't know. Like, did you hear it that way? Am I overreacting?
No, I mean, I think that. So okay, I want to back it up a little bit because I feel like in some ways, like we have our culture has kind of like fueled this fragmented view of family and like marriage and all these things. So I think in so many ways, like it does like begin to like just kind of normalize it. And so she may be saying like, well, it's the reality, but I think that I don't think that we should, like strive for that. Like, sure, even if it is like, okay, there's, I don't know, whatever the percentage of, single women or single mothers. I don't think we have to lean into it like that. I think it could be more like if it were like, oh, we know so many, boys under the age of whatever are going to get shot. So many kids have gotten shot. So what we should do is I don't know, like make sure, we make everybody rich by having life insurance policies on these kids that are under 7. It's just like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, let's not normalize that. Even I see what you mean, but like, it's weird. Like, let's not make that like, that's the goal. And I thought it was odd that she inserted it in that, even though that wasn't necessarily her point.
Yeah.
I do kind of want to be gracious just because she's probably like, trying to take out it sounds because she kept saying things about women, like she didn't say anything about the male teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, maybe she's just like she really is kind of appealing to her base, but I just thought it was a weird kind of attack on like families and what we know works well for society. Yeah, but
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things for me. Maybe the reason it kind of rubs me the wrong way is that, like, in a perfect world, for me, like a person who is really interested in like anti-poverty, um, pro-social frameworks would be super pro-family. Number one, marriage is still, I mean, and we're talking about like what are the realities? Marriage is still the best anti-poverty program that we have available to us. So you don't have to attack marriage. Like I'm for like um let's have livable wages and let's have family. It also, I feel like it positions marriage as this as way too transactional and financial, which there is that benefit to marriage, but that is not like what marriage is about,
right,
and it's not nearly the only benefit
right.
that folks derive from marriage. Because Stacey Gates makes a pretty good penny from her teaching job, to the extent that she's teaching,
Right.
and from her union job, and she has a husband. So
Wow, yeah.
it's like, why you don't want somebody else to have a husband?
Yeah, I think it was just I thought it was odd. I think she's positioning herself definitely as like a champion for, families in a sense, but
Or for
I
women.
thought that could have been a great opportunity for her, especially as an educator, working with kids, working with families. Like your whole thing is to be able to improve the community in that way. I thought that would be a great way, especially from a leader, to like speak into like let's really flourish here. But I feel like she just definitely took a weird turn to just kind of like break it down.
Yeah.
So I agree. That was because we have to be on the lookout. There's all kinds of like just not only messages but also just I don't know, like what is it called? Like just
the subliminal stuff. I mean,
subliminal. There we go.
And just to say what I am like for, clearly. It's like you should have a living wage if you work a job. You should be paid if you work a job, commensurate with the benefit of that job to the society, to the institution that you're working for, whether you are married or not. So this this idea of taking either, because I don't know, I think you're right. Like you have to be, we want to be gracious in our interpretation, but either to take the sort of decline in marriage that we've seen in our society and turn that into some kind of a political
talking point.
talking point is horrible. And maybe even the only thing even more horrible than that is to be promoting this kind of like anti-marriage worldview just to get a political point across.
Yeah, that's good.
When at minimum it is it's unnecessary, and I think at some level it might be self-defeating. But I don't get to write talking points for the Chicago Teachers Union. But yeah, I just thought that was weird. I wanted to point it out so that our audience would just hear how weird sometimes people will be when it comes to marriage and family.
Yeah, because you don't have to tear down the blessing of family to make political points.
Yeah,
you can just like take opportunities to like even interviews like that. That's a great way to like speak into what we know works. Like it works. Strong families work. They help communities. They help all the things that we're trying to do and help our communities to be. It works to do that. And so yeah, we gotta do better.
Yeah, I dream of a world where the marriage people and the organized labor people can be on the same team.
Yay! That would be great. Well, thank you, Lord, for sharing that in the politics section. See, we would have never thought just hearing an interview would have been a thing that has to do with family. So that was good. Thank you, Lord, for pointing that out and for bringing that up. So,
you want to talk about what we're going to talk about in the practice section? Because I think we're talking about something slightly different from one another. But you go ahead.
Okay, we should have talked about what we're going to talk about. Okay, so the practice section. So we're going to talk about marriage retreat.
Yes,
and because that's a great practice.
I'm down for that. Marriage retreat is a great practice.
Yay!
We're also going to reflect on a particular marriage retreat experience that we had recently, which is a great practice.
I concur. All of it is a good
slightly practice. Less great than.
Oh my gosh. Okay. He's trying to poo on it, but let me tell you guys, it was so good. So, first of all, I just want to say marriage retreats are so good. It helps you to just get away from the regular busyness of life, just to kind of focus on your relationship with your spouse, your friendship, takes, especially if you don't always get to take dates, is a good time to like just have some exclusive time uninterrupted. Just to reconnect. So, so this past weekend we attended a marriage retreat kind of thing. It was a little different. It was an outdoor camping retreat. So we were literally we were camping in Tennessee. It wasn't the wilderness. We thought we were going.
We were going to the wilderness. Now I will say this was not the wilderness.
It wasn't the wilderness. It was definitely. I could see my car. Though. Right, you can see your car, but it was boondocky. But we did go up into the mountains for like worship and devotion and things like that. But we were fully outdoors, like in a tent. We cooked over the fire and all of this.
Slept in sleeping bags.
Right, slept in sleep. Oh, it was so good. I loved it. It was so great. We could hear the birds and there was a rooster on the property that would crow at like 4:00 in the morning.
I did write a poem about the rooster.
That was such a good poem. But I was like, these are the only things that could come out of just in the stillness of just being around nature and like no cell phones, no anything. We were totally off the grid. It was so great. And just being like at night, you could see the stars and the moon. I was like, this is so beautiful. So great.
We are Chicagoans, so we never see the stars.
Right. We have a ton of light pollution. So, but even if that is what you see all the time, it was just great to be able to like just sit uninterrupted and like be able to behold it and just be around. It was just beautiful. And it was all just such a wonderful experience. Even though it was camping, even though it was just outdoors and camping, and at one point, like in the night, it was like a whole thunderstorm, and it was like kind of crazy. Wind was blowing, like it was cold rain and all that. But we were safe in our tent because my wonderful husband had you did all of it. You had all of our supplies. We had all the things we needed.
Well, our hosts gave us a list.
They did. They gave us a pack.
I just got the things that were on the list.
And because you're so type A, you got all of the things.
I got all the
things. I was like, I don't know if we need that. But you got all of it. And we needed every single thing on that
list. We'll come back later to debate if I'm type A or not.
We already know you're type A, love. And everybody who knows this knows you too. Okay. Maybe what you should do is do a pros and cons list of whether you're type A or not to figure out. Just get an Excel spreadsheet to figure out if whether or not I'm type A. That's what you would do.
I mean, that's a fair way to assess.
That's a very type A way to decide if you're type A or not. Okay, anyway, so
I didn't do that. I just decided on vibes.
Sure, on vibes. Oh gosh, that's great. Okay, anyway, so this camping retreat was so good. I think some of the great benefits that come out of it is one I already said, just having this exclusive time with one another, especially when you're raising kids, when you are, working and all of that. It can become so busy. And if you're not intentional already about like having maybe like a date night every week or just taking time to talk to each other, not get sucked into technology at the end of the day, that can be really, really good. And even if you do, like we have date night every week, we do make sure to talk every day, but it still was so good. It was so helpful. And I super enjoyed it. It was a lot of other couples, like maybe 17 or 18 other couples too. It was just a great, great, great time.
The camp was called Jesus, Marriage, and Campfire. And it was really, really well organized.
Very well organized.
Even for somebody like me.
I want to shout out Justin and Summer Gibney, who hosted us. This was their vision, their idea to just pour into marriages in this way. And it was so adventurous. It was a fun way to do it. But Justin and Summer, some friends of ours, they're incredible. But they hosted us. They planned all those great details, and it was beautifully organized. So many great.
Even for somebody like me, who's like not crazy about the outdoors. It really was just from all the like the pre-work and like preparation, like they definitely like that list. At some point in the getting of things, I was like, I don't know if we should do all this. But when we got out there, I was like, man, we need every single thing on this list. So they really thought through everything. It was really well organized. And I think there were so many experiences like that, not all in the forest and camping and that kind of thing, but just the concept of a retreat where married couples can get away and just be with each other as humans with souls for a minute. Because so much of marriage, marriage carries weight in the world, and it should. I mean, we talk about it a lot here on the podcast, how much marriage and family, how much work marriage and family is doing in society and carrying a lot of weight. And so when you're in a marriage, you are alongside your spouse as your spouse is being a professional, an employee, a parent, a sibling, a shopkeeper,
community member,
like all the things that we do, mechanic, medical personnel, like all the stuff that like comes with just being in life and family. And so what I like about the retreat, even when it is outside, is just that time to like be with your spouse as a person, unplugged from all the things. I think I'm gonna regret saying this probably, but I do think that the whole wilderness motif is even better for that, because like the being unplugged, no TV, no cell phones,
no
email, just people.
Guys, let me tell you how huge that was that he just said that. So Chris is he has coined this term, and he says he is what is it, love?
An avid endorsement.
An avid indoorsman. What kind of mess is that, guys?
I
Right?
like to explore all types of indoor environments.
Anyway, and I love the great outdoors, but the fact that he even agreed to go and like spearheaded the whole effort, making us, he drove us the 9 hours to get there. You got all the packing gear and all that. It was so, so, so great. And it was like a whole huge miracle that he was even there. We pulled up, everybody was like, Chris is here. Like, this is incredible. He's out here for a camping trip. So super excited that you did this and that you really enjoyed it. This is so great. So praise the Lord. Miracles happen every day, you guys.
Yeah.
Don't
So
give up.
if you're like, and I'm challenging myself because we lead a church. I'm like, if you're a church leader or a ministry leader of any sort, if you've got any resource to make marriage retreats happen, encourage that. Like, I really encourage that. Because like I think about like Justin and Summer, like they just came up with this vision, and made it happen, and now it's grown to, like you said, they were serving like 18 couples.
Some couldn't come, but yeah, at least
So
18, yeah.
So, if you had the resource to do it, I think it's a good idea. Marriages and couples need it. And then if you are a couple, avail yourself of these opportunities. And don't wait till you're like in crisis. This is one of those things I think is so much a benefit just as you go. It's like you go to your doctor for an annual checkup, hopefully.
Right.
Talk
Or
about that
maybe
another
get your
time.
teeth cleaned.
Get your teeth
every
cleaned
twice
again,
a year.
hopefully.
But yeah, this is the kind of thing that you just want to do. You get your oil changed.
You get your oil
every
changed
5,000 miles or
again,
3,000.
hopefully.
Yeah, but your marriage just needs that. Even if you're in a great spot, you need to just kind of unplug from all the weights that you're carrying.
Yeah.
That's a good thing, but it's so necessary to have this time to just reflect, refresh, get filled up. You might be a little sleepy when you come home. If you did what we did, but it's worth it. It's so, so good. I also just want to encourage you. There's so many other retreats that, like, I know Weekend to Remember is a really good one. They do this all around the country all year long. There's just so many good ones, and I highly recommend it. Wives, husbands, guys, go. You will love it. It will be a blessing to you and your relationship. So yeah, practice that, guys.
Yes. Marriage retreat.
Woohoo!
So you have a very you shared this with me.
We're on to the promise section.
We're on to the promise section.
Okay. The promise.
Come with us, y'all. The promise of family. So you shared this with me at some point. I don't know. We talk a lot. But I was like, yo, that's really dope. We should share that as the promise. Because what we do in the promise section is we just talk about all the myriad different ways that like family formation and the sort of flourishing of family is not just to the benefit of that individual family, but to the broader society. And so a lot of times we talk about like research or some sort of authoritative opinion or that kind of thing, but there is nothing more authoritative in my view than the word of God recorded in the scriptures, and you were sharing something with me with a sort of a fresh take on it that really speaks to the promise of family in a society. So why don't you share this with the people?
Sure, yeah. So I've been reading in Jeremiah. I'm just reading through the Bible. And one of the sections I've been reading is in Jeremiah now. And as you know, Jeremiah, a little background, they're about to be like, Jeremiah is just super like sad about how their whole society is about to be taken off into exile by the Babylonian Empire. So King Nebuchadnezzar, and he tells them like, this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna be really bad.
Mhm.
But then and he's warning the people and telling them and letting them know why this judgment is happening and all that. And he's really sad about it. But then he gives them some instructions, like even before you even, we know this is going to happen, but while you're in exile, here's what to do. So this is actually a familiar passage. It's Jeremiah 29, chapter 29, which most people know, 29:11. It talks about, God knows the plans, for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you. So this is just right before that. The reason why he even says that is because he's like, when you go into this exile, situation. Just keep this in mind. So I'll start here. It says, "This is what the Lord of armies, the God of Israel, says to all the exiles I deported from Jerusalem to Babylon: Build houses and live in them, plant gardens and eat their produce. Find wives for yourselves and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters to men in marriage so that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there, do not decrease. Pursue the well being of the city I've deported you to. Pray to the Lord on its behalf, for when it thrives, you will thrive." And I just thought that was such a great illustration for us, because obviously this is a historical record. This actually happened. They really did go into exile, and they could have just gone there and just been so like, gosh, this is horrible. How do we get here? We could have just like shriveled up and died as a nation. But no, they leaned into the word of the Lord. They leaned into the instruction that God gave. He said, "Go and multiply there. Don't decrease. Don't not get married. Don't shrink back. Like, live, thrive. Allow yourselves to just really be fruitful there. Have children. Plant things, like really invest in the land, invest in the people, invest in relationships, invest in your family, and continue to grow." Because what's going to happen is there's going to come a time where that's all going to be over, and now you're going to be starting fresh again, and you would have, so not to like waste this season. So yes, we're in an economy right now. The way I kind of see this is we're in an economy right now that seems to be down. We're in a time, you have the whole, like, there's this huge conflict with Iran happening. We don't know what tomorrow's going to be. We don't know how the election is going to go in 2028. Like, there's just so many like things that are just uncertain and maybe also kind of depressing. However, God is still saying to us even today, invest in your families. Don't shrink back. Don't give up hope. Just, like, really invest and uh um allow yourselves to be, to expand and to pour into your children, have children, get married, like all those things. So I just thought that was a super great encouragement for us in this time period. As we're raising families, you guys are raising families, you are part of a family, and so just be encouraged. Like, really lean into this thing that you have, this family. It's such a gift to society. It was a great gift even for their time, even the nation that they were in. It needed them to thrive. They were going to be in this Babylonian thing for 70 years, but they still, even them being, just being fruitful was going to be a blessing even to this place that they were being sent to. So it wasn't ideal, but it was, there was still a blessing in it, and God used them to be a blessing in this less than ideal situation. So encouragement to you guys in that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is so good. And when you're sharing it with me, like, one of the things that stands out is just the fact that family formation is in the mix, right? Because you see this idea of economic activity, right? So planting gardens in ancient Near Eastern culture, like, that is the idea of economic activity. So he's saying, go get involved in the economy. That's part of what it means to thrive. You see this idea of political activity, right? Pursue the peace of the city. And so that is part of what it means to thrive. Political activity, economic activity. You see the idea of spiritual activity. Pray for the peace of the city. So spiritual activity is part of what it means to thrive. And right there in that same milieu of economic activity and spiritual activity and kind of social political activity, God puts this idea of family formation
That's good.
in the mix of like what it looks like for a culture to thrive. And so this kind of like points back to the first thing that we talked about in the politics section. It's disturbing to me when people break those components apart,
Right.
that you can do, if you just have economic activity, then you're thriving. No. If you just have
Right.
sort of political and social activity, you're thriving. If you just have spiritual activity, then you're thriving. But God, through prophet Jeremiah, is kind of putting all these things together as sort of a vision of what it means for people to thrive.
Oh, that's so good.
And so, yeah, I think that is it's appropriate for this promise section because that's kind of the vision that I think we're trying to put forward out of the Nuclear Option podcast, right? Not that family is the only thing, because he didn't just say, go have babies.
Right.
and get married. And we should reverse that, go get married and have babies.
Right.
That's not out there by itself either, right? Like, you need the economic activity,
Yeah.
you need the social political activity, you need the spiritual activity,
Yeah.
but you also need this part. And so it's just an encouragement to people who are in the process or even desire to get into the process of family formation, to know that is a real pillar in what it looks like for us to thrive as a society.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I love it. That was so great. Guys, I hope that you were blessed by that. I hope that you especially this promise section. This is so good. My heart is full, even fuller than we started.
And I
But
hope your heart is full also.
yeah, I hope this blessed you guys. It's always our prayer and our hope that by what we talk about, that it can just not only strengthen you in what you do, but that it also will just give you some even just new inspiration for how and why you do what you do, and to continue forward. So you guys be encouraged.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for all that you do.
And thank you for listening to this point. If you have listened to this point, would really love it if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you would like the video, if you're listening on a podcast platform, leave us a nice review and then share an episode with somebody who you think will benefit from the content that we're putting out through the Nuclear Option Podcast. Because we want to expand this community, and we have some exciting things coming up to even bring y'all into the conversation a little bit more. So would love it if you would help us to share this around and grow this community.
Yay. All right, you guys. So appreciate you all. Share with a friend. Please share this with a friend, all of your friends. But you guys are a blessing. God bless y'all. We love you. Keep loving each other.
Hold on to truth.
And harness your power. See you next time.